This installment of our series on RuneQuest and composing a campaign to really give it a run for its money is going to look at the races, or the species, that I'd like to open up for the players in the game. Now, as we talked about in the previous clip, the players themselves will be responsible for building and developing the culture around these species, but as these races, or as these types of individuals, are strongly connected to the cosmology and the environment I would like to explore in this fantasy setting, I'm going to be responsible for them. So here's the overview, which is, in a way, the first pitch I would make if I were delivering this to players at my table right now. So the most important thing to understand at the outset is that this fantasy environment is quite extreme. Growing up, most of my fantasy settings were no different than the real world, with the exception that magic was real, and they may have been mired in a particular historical period, like the medieval period or the Dark Ages or a sword and sorcery type setting. This world is not going to follow a lot of normal physical rules. For example, it's not going to be a planet, at least not the way that we understand it. So what I'm envisioning is this. Imagine an environment where there are actually 3 levels of creation. A crystal sky roof with heaven above it, an earthly realm with hell below it, almost a disk world of sorts, but not bound to any such mundane idea as a round platter spinning in space, but hanging in void realms. It will be bounded by terrain that will intimidate the denizens of the world and prevent them from meeting the gods. The gods will meddle often in the affairs or the direction that the intelligent races in this earthly realm have. And they have determined, they have decreed in the various cultures scattered across the earthly realm, they have decreed that the day is for work and earning their approval. And the night is when the souls of dreamers are tested by the forces of the outside. Those forces seek to diminish the earthly realm, where the gods expect those who dwell in the earthly realm to extend the firmament, and if they fail, to lose ground. Both everything outside the earthly realm and inside the earthly realm is as real as the other. In case it's not abundantly evident already, one thing I should probably point out is that balance is in no way represented in this setting or in character design. Characters will be kept alive by the wits of the players and the decisions that they make, not because an encounter has had a duly tested threat rating. In this setting, in one's sleep, one may meet the dead, or worse, things which have not yet existed. And this experience will be no less real than what is experienced in the waking world, and its effects will carry forward into the shape of the world and the future outcome of events' fate. If someone digs deep enough, or flies high enough, or walks far enough, eventually one will enter the land of the gods. They will find the tracks of the sun and the moons, they'll be able to journey to heaven or hell, and ultimately to the void itself. And if one is heroic enough, one could carve new land from dream. One could slay dragons, one could wrestle gods, spread truth, create truth, or bring peace to the dead. It's this kind of world in which I envision the heroes and then the little people all trying to survive. What races exist in this world? Well, I see the gods, as I said, of being very active, have laid their mark on people. So, at one point in the distant past, essentially, all races were human. But as time has marched on, different branches of humanity or different species have been changed in order to become more pleasing to the deity that has taken an interest in them. So, humans, of course, this is not challenging or at all creative, but humans dwell anywhere, can learn anything. And in this setting, they have an affinity for tools and logical systems, either those powered by the laws of physics or those powered by arcane laws. Another group, who I'm tentatively calling the Plinthons, they dwell underground, and like the other races, but unlike humanity, they have a distrust of complex tools, complex arcana, and complex machines. They are deeply rooted in a physical existence. They are deeply religious and technically proficient. They value hard work. They do not trust machines which do work for you. Only those which, like a lever, magnify your own input. Their arcane lore is very simple, very practical, and lasts a very long time. Compare these to the next race, the Phaedrons. The Phaedrons dwell near or in the sea and are, some people don't know, are they what? Wet? Mysterious and typically reclusive, given to the arcane. Their arcana deal with the flow of forces, the gleaning of knowledge, the erosion of the static, and the chaos of the weather. Opposed to lasting structures being built, except the history of the world. The Phaedrons have fluid social structures, nomadic cultures. They are masters of languages and the emotions. They are seekers of secrets, tales, and lore. The next group, the Alira. These are a splinter race of humanity, and their forebears were granted the gift of flight and the gifts to understand it. They are winged and able to become less substantial, like wisps of wind. They dwell in cloud cities, coaxed into chaotic forms of vapor and mist only they can really understand, as the cities shift endlessly from shape to shape. They are a warrior race, given to passionate debate and the refinement of ideals into pure forms. The Alira are poets, philosophers, iconoclasts, and inspiring leaders. Their grasp of arcana is practical and fit for their needs of communication, inspiration, and battle. The next group, the Blessed. These were once another race entirely, another species entirely, but they and their families, far in the past, earned the pleasure of the gods and have been granted immortality and forms more pleasing to the deities. They have great arcane ability linked with the elements and with travel, even, it is rumored, between the realms, of course, at the discretion of the gods. Their society is static. They are tied to tradition and to obedience. They do not innovate. They preserve. They do not challenge. They protect. Other than what we would consider to be normal social forces, economics, politics, religion, shaping characters' lives, there are also other elements, the outside elements I mentioned before, where beings such as dragons and other monsters enter the world from the void beyond. Given shape by fear, by chaos itself, seeking to undo what these intelligent races have done, seeking to return to chaos that which heroes have given shape. And it's this kind of fantasy world that I have often ignored in my own gaming. Things that I absolutely loved in source material like Elric, and never once gave shape around my gaming table. And this time, I'm going to do it. Some of it is way out there, and some of it is, over the decades since these books were written, have become a little mundane. But I'm hoping that this balance between weirdness and the typical will enable players to find enough hooks in these vaguely defined character types and this archetypal cosmology to begin with confidence developing the individual characteristics of the societies from which they come. And once we get to that footing, then the real story will be able to rise up and surprise us all.